This is Harry Wood's Unit 5, 5.18 Sports Coaching. Coaching Role 1. I have chosen a manager. Role description. A football manager of a professional team or a lower league team or a Sunday league team should select the team of players for the match and the formation, plan the strategy. If he's a professional, he will have to face post-match interviews and pre-match interviews. If he's a professional manager or semi-professional, he'll also have to deal with the selling and buying of players, and then obviously that will go through the chairman and the owners of the club. He will also be in direct contact with the scouts and scouting reports. He will also be in contact with all his coaching staff, whether that's the nutritionist, the analysts, his goalkeeping coach, his attacking coach, his defending coach, his assistant manager, his first team coach, and they will all be in contact with one another trying to get the best result for the team. Those are some of the responsibilities of a manager. Abroad, by that what I mean is in European countries such as Spain, Greece, etc. They have directors of football, but in England we don't have that yet. We still have a manager and an assistant manager. This is something that English clubs are looking at, such as Brentford, who have just appointed two directors of football, a manager, an assistant manager and a first team coach. That is a very European style to managerial roles. When is this role used? This role is used in a team talk, so the manager will motivate his players if they've gone. He may bring his players. So at half time, the manager will have his players all sat round him in the dressing room, and they're 1-0 down. So he will try and motivate them, encourage them, give positive feedback on what they've done well in the first half. Obviously, if they've played badly, he'll say, "Can you work on passing the ball better? Can you keep the ball better?" And this is a good use of his managerial skills, and that is motivation. The manager may also be involved in buying a player. He would have had a scout report. He would have sent a scout out to go and look at this player. He will then look at the scouting report that the scout would have brought back for him, and he would have weighed up the pros and cons if it's better than the players they currently have to this one that he wants to get in. Most of the time at a professional club they'll have to spend a couple of million on a very good player, depending on what country they're playing. And obviously if the club's in the Premier League or in a lower league such as League 2 in the Conference, and obviously they'll pay more if they're in the Premier League. But the manager's main role here is to talk to the player, because the player will mainly come to the club for the manager, because if the manager likes him, he's going to play him, they're going to get on well, and the player's going to enjoy his time. So that is another managerial role. Another managerial role in this job is to pick the team and the formation. The manager before a game, a couple of days before, or even the night before a game, will finally pin down his team of the 11 players he wants to start. He will then make his subs up he will make his mind up on the subs on the day of the game. This role is crucial because someone has to pick the team, and his job as the manager is to pick the team. He knows the players, so do the other coaches such as the assistant manager and the first team coach, but the manager is a person who has that responsibility of picking the team and the formation. He will then motivate his players to go out there and put in a good performance, and this is another managerial. Why is this role important? Well, this role is important because managers are deemed in the club as sort of top dog, obviously below the chairman and the chief executive. However, the fans will have a much better relationship with the manager. If the manager will be in everyone's good books if he gets the results. However, this is easier said than done. This role is very important also because if the manager if he hasn't got control of the dressing room, then his players will lose respect and focus for him, meaning that they will not be able to go out and get the result of the weekend. Obviously, this probably will happen more in a team that are losing every week and down the bottom of the table. But if you're in a team that are at the top of the table and pushing for the title, you're probably going to have a better team spirit. You're probably going to have more respect for the manager because you trust him, because he's brought you this far, and obviously you've gone out and done the results for him. However, teams down in the lower leagues and in the bottom of the table, they still also have a great team spirit, but some clubs and some managers, especially the players, will lose respect for the manager. This has happened in some cases. So this role is very important because the manager must keep control of his players, his staff, and make sure he keeps the board happy. Otherwise, if he doesn't, then he'll be out of his job. But if he does all this, then he'll be all good. Owen Fisher, Coach 1. Owen Fisher is my futsal coach. When we play games on a Wednesday, he will have a team talk with us before the game and sometimes on the bus travelling up so that we can get in the right mindset and ready to beat the team we're about to go and play. Owen also is very good with communicating with us, and we also have a lot of respect for him in regards to playing, because obviously he knows what he's talking about and he's got his qualifications. The coach also, when he does a team talk with us, will point at us individually and go around each player telling us what our roles and responsibilities are in this game. For example, he may say, Harry, don't lose the ball, don't play first touch. If I can do this, then I'm in his good books and I've done well. And as long as the other players do their jobs, then the manager's also done his job by giving them a responsibility in the game. And also, if we all do this, we won't put our team under pressure, and hopefully we can go up the other end and score some goals. The manager is also in charge of... Coach number 1 is also responsible for training. So when we have a training session on a Monday or a Friday, Owen Fisher will bring us all in at the start, normally get us into 4v1s, and we'll just get into some quick passing drills. This will... our muscles will become warm through this, and then we get in our dynamic stretches and our static stretches after. We will then go into a more in-depth session. The sessions are also very well planned, and we also learn a lot from it. What we learn in our session we then take into our game, and if we've done this, our manager has also done his job of delivering the information correctly. Coach 2, Jose Mourinho. Jose Mourinho is the manager of Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea have just won the Capital One Cup and the Barclays Premier League in this season. Jose Mourinho has a massive job. He has players, unlike Owen, who are on millions of pounds a week, earning lots and lots of money, and he has to try and control them so they don't go crazy and spend it all and do something ridiculous. He needs to keep them focused and have lots of respect for him. Jose Mourinho also has respect for his players, and that is how the relationship works. He also has good control of the dressing room, which is why they have won the league this year. I believe that Chelsea have won the league this year because they've been together now for a couple of years. Jose Mourinho knows the club, he's come back, he knows the board really well, he gets on with everyone, they've got a great team spirit, like other clubs, but Chelsea in particular. He's brought in his own players, he's got the team working, he's used some of the youth players as well, and that has also helped massively to them winning trophies. He also demonstrates this role well when picking teams and formations. Jose Mourinho's teams are unbelievable. Some of the players obviously he can get in, unlike Owen, because Mourinho has that resource of spending millions of pounds on players. But the other part of spending millions of pounds on players isn't that they're always going to be amazing. The manager also has that job to do of making sure they can play in these pressured environments in front of thousands and thousands of people each week, that they can play with other players in the team, different countries, different backgrounds, different nationalities, etc. And that is another really, really hard responsibility of the coach, and he demonstrates that really well, of getting his teams to play well together. Coach 3, Ivan Lendl. Ivan Lendl is Andy Murray's ex-tennis coach. Andy Murray is doing brilliantly as a tennis player. He won Wimbledon not so long ago, and he is now in the final. He's in the semi-final, at the French Open. A responsibility of Ivan Lendl would have been to prepare Andy Murray for a tennis match. He would have done this by some light training, probably on the day of the game, and obviously more in depth in his warm-up. Some of the responsibilities are to assist him in preparation, ensure health and safety is being carried out, because obviously you don't want to be doing anything that's too silly, or unsafe, because this would not be good. He also has a responsibility of making sure he gets to his tennis match on time. That is the job of the coach, and then the coach will watch up either in a box or in a seat at the game. He should also help to organise Andy Murray, and can also help with his kit. But the main responsibility is preparing him for a game, because that is the job of the coach. When coaching, should work on his serving and his forehand and backhand shots and his short game and long game. If he does this in tennis, then Andy Murray will be a great player like he is today. Andy Murray is no longer with Ivan Lendl, he's now with Amelia, and he's still doing very well. But Ivan Lendl did excellent with him, and he won him some Grand Slams, and he is currently doing very well in the world of tennis. Coaching role 2, role model. Role description. A role model is someone who a young person or an older person or someone doing really well will look up to. For example, John Terry is a football player for Chelsea and was of England. Lots of young lads growing up will look up to him as a role model because he plays for Chelsea, which lots of people support. He also played for England, the country of a lot of people that live in England. He will also be sponsored by Nike, so lots of kids growing up will want to wear Nike and they will look up to him and dress like him, buy his tops, buy his shirts. This also has a knock-on effect to clubs and Nike because they can earn merchandise through this because he is such a good role model to younger children and older people. There is no sort of set procedure to follow as a role model. As a role model, you just have to be yourself and make sure you're being professional with what you do, and people will look up to you that way. And yeah, that is a role description of a role model. When is this role used? This role is used when the role model is meeting people that look up to him. So he will have to be professional in a manner that condones himself well. He needs to be perceived as a nice person in person as well, because obviously they'll just see pictures and him playing sport, and it may not just be a football player, it could be a tennis player, a rugby player, a hockey player. It could even just be a friend that they know in the local village that they look up to. So whatever this role model is, but in sport it's normally a football player. For example, it could be John Terry. So lots of kids growing up playing football will look up to him because of what he's achieved at Chelsea and in his youth career and at England. He's won no major honours with England, but he has won lots with Chelsea. He's won the Premier League, the Capital One Cup, the FA Cup. Back in the day, it used to be called the Carling Cup. He's won that as well. He's also won the Community Shield, and lots of people will look up to him. But this role is used when meeting those people looking up to him, and say if he posts something on social media, he needs to make sure that what he posts is professional and nothing silly. Otherwise, people looking up to him may then not look up to him, and that is bad for the player because he needs a lot of support. Why is this role important? This role is important because people will be looking up to their role model. So, especially in football, John Terry will be setting an example for lots of young boys and girls playing football at grassroots level coming through. So if he then suddenly does something bad or retires, they may not look up to him as much. Obviously you can't help if he retires, but if he does something bad in the public eye that everyone sees, then obviously they may not look up to him as much and find a different role model / idol. But this role is very important because professionals have sort of a responsibility to bring younger players through what they do on the pitch. So if John Terry does something well on the pitch, say if he scores a goal or plays really well, is a brilliant captain, then lots of young people will look up to him, and hopefully they can get more people into football, and that chain reaction effect of people retiring and then coming through, and hopefully that can keep going in England and for all around the world for many, many years. But this is why being a role model is important. Coach 1, Owen Fisher, Brighton Hove Albion's futsal coach. Owen Fisher is a role model to a lot of members of our team because a lot of our players would like to be coaches, and obviously Owen has a very good job as a coach at Brighton Hove Albion at the moment. For myself, I'd like to see myself in that role sort of 5 years' time. That'd be perfect for me, and that's the route I'd like to go down, is coaching. So obviously a lot of drills he does I sort of pick up on and then do in my own sessions. He also is a role model in the way of how he condones himself around the club. He's very professional and we all look up to him in that manner. And that is Owen Fisher demonstrating the role of being a coach. 2, Jose Mourinho, manager of Chelsea Football Club. Jose Mourinho is a huge role model to many, many, many people all around the world, regardless whether they want to be a coach or